Hello, this is the third and final clinic for the 2015-16 TMEA All-State Band and Orchestra auditions for area and region. This Gallay Etude is on page 67 of the Pottag Andraud 335 Melodious and Progressive Studies. This particular exercise is more an endurance factor than anything, and it's a perpetual motion. You just got to keep going and make sure that your fingers are working, you're blowing a nice long steady tube of air, and you're planning your breaths accordingly. I know that they do have some breaths already in here. Some I like, some I don't. You are going to have to figure out for yourself which breaths are going to be the best for you. But before I would even recommend you playing this, I would get a metronome and first put it on a very slow tempo. So here's 60 with the 8th note subdivision. Then what I would do, a phrase at a time, I would just finger this and finger this in tempo, like your fingers are like a little machine. Ready, and go, and. Now another thing that you could do along with this is blow an air pattern. So forth like that. I think that would very well be worth your while. Just so you can make sure that you have superior finger rhythm and that you are having a nice, long, steady airflow. Another thing that may be good for you to do is practice this as a flow study. So on one breath, go from breath mark to breath mark and just slur. Go all the way through it like that. Then gradually go faster and faster. One thing that I find that's particularly encouraging to do is make sure that you put all your notes on the same plane. I've worked with some students already and they're elevating their pitch. They're going da ba dee da dee ba dee ba dee ba da ba, and they're going from low to high. Think about every note that you play is at nose level, so that the higher the notes you go, you're just blowing out just a little bit further. When you're playing the lower notes, you got to use a little bit more energy to make sure that those lower notes sound as strong. So you're almost using a rebound. Yeah, nice, slow, and steady. Then you can get faster and faster. Then after that, when you get to the tempo that you want, go ahead and put the tongue in with it. Have a nice, light, brushstroke tongue. The staccatos, nicely separated, but more bouncy. Like that. So forth like that. Once you understand how to put this on automatic pilot and the efficiency, this exercise isn't quite as hard as what you might think it to be. There are a couple of exercises that I'm going to show you that will help you learn how to keep all these notes at the same level. This first book I use is the Dufresne Routine. This is published by Southern Music Company, edited by Thomas Bacon. This particular exercise I find is a very good introduction. As you notice, the intervals are stepwise and encompass the first half of a major scale. As you go from one note to the next, you're going to let the air reach a little bit further. Make sure that as you do this, when you go up to the next note and then back down again, we don't suffer a loss of dynamic. I set the tempo around 60 to 66. Play it with a nice full volume, nice smooth transition between adjacent notes, making sure that as you go up, you're blowing the airstream out just a little bit farther to reach the note. Make sure that the airstream that you're blowing has the same dimension. Don't let it open up, don't let it close up, but keep the same dimension, just as if you would whistle this. So forth. Go all the way up. Then halfway through, you start from the top note, which is the G above the staff, and then you reverse it going down. This downward cycle is actually more strenuous than going up because you're using more energy as you go downwards. But then you have to use enough energy to make sure that the upper note comes out. You're directing the air out for the upper G, as well as you're directing the air more out as you go lower. That's why I actually like to have this a little bit faster than this. That's what I said. I have this set at 60, probably 66, or maybe even 72 for a younger player might be more applicable. Next, there is another exercise I want to show you that's even more adventuresome. The Ward Fern Exercises for Flexible Horn Playing is a wonderful book. It has things for tonguing, it has things for slurring, low range, high range, but this particular exercise that starts the book, I think, is golden. This particular exercise I like to use just the way I did the Dufresne, putting all the notes on the same plane, letting the air reach. So as you go down on the first measure, you're just using a little bit more energy to bring those bottom notes out. Then you reach with the air on that octave. So you're letting the air do the work, all the notes at nose level, So you're not reaching up or down, you're blowing straight out, letting the wind direction do the work. If you would take this and whistle it, you would understand how to do this. I think there's a very good correlation between flexible horn playing and whistling. If you look at yourself in a mirror, you will find that the opening in your lip really doesn't change. If you put your hand in front of you and you feel how you're using the air, you will readily see what we're talking about air direction. So forth. Wonderful exercise. I do this every day, and I recommend that my students do it as well. So now, let us return to the Gallay Etude proper. Let's look for right now from measure 1 through measure 12. If you have any difficulty with this, I would slow it down and then gradually get it up to the performance tempo. So I'm going to be blowing a steady tube of air and grabbing a quick catch breath whenever I can. A little bobble there. Oh, by the way, I would really recommend down that A flat up there to do that with the short tube fingering, second finger. The pattern changes. Think about regrouping to where the slur, the three slur notes lead to the isolated articulation. Then another one. And then you have a scale. So really bring out this chromaticism on the downbeats of 16 and 17. So you have little pickups. Then I think that you could probably get a little stretch right there at the back side of 20 to get a little bit more of a tank of gas in. And then from 21, it's essentially the same type of thing that we had at the very beginning. Then at 25, we have yet another slightly different pattern. Look for the anchor notes. We have 3 pickups, then we have these articulated notes. Here's what I'm talking about. That's what you bring out. all together. And then, when we return to 29, it's more of the same that we had at the beginning. Again, as you go up for each succeeding note, make sure that you're tossing the air out more in front of you. I would linger on that A flat a little bit. Then, as we go on into the next line, because this has been really so taxing, and some of the people that I've worked with already have find that their lips are getting a little bit tired at this point. So I recommend doing a lot of this, if not all of it, on the B flat horn. So now normally I would recommend playing the A flat up on top, second finger. But in this case, it is a chord member. It is the fifth of the chord. The fifth of the major chord actually needs to be stretched just slightly. So we'll need that high fingering. Now from 37, after we play that top F, I would stay on the second and third finger of the B flat horn. You can play that bottom space F 2 and 3. If you want to go back to the open F on top, you can. And then you're back again at the beginning. Yeah, make sure that you do have your 16th note subdivision going as you do this. So, let's see what this is like in its entirety. Wishing you all the best of luck. It's been my pleasure making these clinics available for you. They're certainly not studio ready, but I understand that you're going to get the gist of this. Best of luck, and thanks for watching.